Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Z2X. We've got some breaking news here. Breaking.
Yeah, but by the time we put this up, it won't be
It won't be
breaking. But
as
hello,
breaking, but
hello, hello.
yeah. By the time it's up, it'll
I'm
have
the
been
X to
broken.
his Z.
X to the Z.
Yeah,
Sorry, this is a bit. This is a big one here. There's two of
I
us.
know, I know. Yep, there's two of us. So the breaking news
You,
is
Sean P Diddy Combs has been found not guilty of racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking. I'm gonna
yep.
censor that second one, but
I'm like, maybe just go
for
back.
the
You're gonna censor it?
yeah, I'll censor it. But for the
I was like, don't forget.
yeah, because YouTube is not nice when you don't do that.
No,
But
like they
basically,
didn't with our other video. They did not
yeah.
like
So
it.
imagine when you're, when the traffic is bad, and it has the S word in it. Basically, you
Yeah,
guys know what I'm talking about. But he's
they know,
found
they
not
know.
guilty on that. Rico not guilty. Traffic. Cassie Ventura not guilty. Man Act Transportation Cassie Ventura guilty. Um, basically, he's
I don't. I
guilty.
can't believe it. I cannot believe that he didn't get this trafficking part because he forced these girls quite a few times to do these freak offs. But you know what I mean? When he was out of town, like freaking Cassie, he was beating her, bringing her back into the room to do the freak off, and she said that too. Um, I think that his defense attorney was saying that these women have agency and they liked it
Yeah,
because they
that's the
sent him
big.
text messages later on. I personally feel that because it's hard because you have to get every single one of the jurors to agree
Yeah,
beyond a reasonable doubt, and that's the hard part. And two, I I I I think that they didn't want to put a popular black man who is popular in prison
yeah. Like
or
I mean,
more. I don't think they wanted to convict him for that.
they didn't
No,
want to
I
put a
don't think
pop
they did.
star effectively. Like I mean, it all comes down to status, in my opinion. Like
Well, yeah, yes and no, because like when we talked about crazy Alex Jones, yeah, he's crazy. Yeah, he's got issues, but he was just saying, yeah, it was bad stuff that he was saying about Sandy Hook, but they took him to the ringers and he was
well,
wealthy.
because with Alex Jones, they made a mess. They basically made it's like this is what happens if you say the wrong things with Alex Jones.
Yeah, they used him as an example.
Diddy's
But
also got everyone in his pocket too.
I know, and you know what? I hope to God he's got like 87 civil cases against him. I hope to God they all are guilty and show that he's a disgusting human being. I don't care
yeah,
if he's got
because
kids, I don't care if he's got exes, I don't care what, but he is an evil
yeah,
person and
because
he
what
did horrible shit to these
yeah
people.
what so what generally the only thing he's been charged on for people that don't know is he's been charged on
Two cases. He's been
two acts of basically transportation with intent to engage in prostitution, which can carry
Yes,
a
that's all.
maximum of 10 years each for a maximum of 20 years.
Yeah,
Um,
no, nobody thinks he's going to even come close to
no,
that.
that's
So
maximum. That's the key thing. I
I
don't think
told you
he's gonna
that
get close.
yeah, there's some point system that they use based on like how much they are evidence that was given. And by the point system, it's like 20 some odd points, some 20 something points. So they average about five. It's probably going to be about 5 years per one, but he could do them all at once. It depends on the judge, or he can do them side by side, where they have to spend 5 years doing this one and 5 years doing the other one. It depends on the judge. And right now, as we're speaking, the judge is deciding if he should release him from jail pending the sentencing. And both sides had to give their opinion to if they should stay or go. And here's something that I found was really interesting that that the the federal government said that they said that he had been doing drugs and illegal things while he was incarcerated, like when he would be in court or something.
What that.
which I think is really weird. And they were saying that he can't, and that he was also doing illegal things while they were being investigated, which is true. We know he was doing all those freak offs and doing drugs and all that stuff while he was being investigated. So the government said that would be ridiculous to let him out of jail while he's before his sentencing, because he doesn't care about the law. And I'm sorry, but letting him out for all the stuff, he doesn't care about the law. I think that he was basically using Cassie as a sex slave and held her life in his hands. And I think it's disgusting that the jurors didn't see that.
Yeah,
I think it's disgusting.
No, in my opinion, I agree.
She was 20 years old, for God's
like
sakes.
40 some odd. Like,
yeah.
I think a big thing of it too is to kind of go over it. I think, and it's sad to say, he's probably only going to get 5 years, but if he's able to leverage his connections, he might be able to get out with like parole or some dumb like, well, if you
he doesn't get thing, no, you can't get parole when it comes to federal. There's no parole with federal court systems.
Or not parole. I mean, like,
and he doesn't get early
or something.
Yeah, he doesn't get no. It's a federal. That's the one thing that is. So when they're federally convicted, it is done. That's your set time. You don't get early release for good behavior. You don't get nothing. You stay, and that is it.
Since 1987
That's it.
Is when the law got put into place, and it's the luckiest that you can get is if you're really lucky, you could possibly be moved out of a federal prison. But the chance of that happening with someone like Sean P Diddy Combs is next to
it
zero.
won't.
Like it has
because
to be a
he's so
crime.
Because he's so popular and he's so wealthy. But also, you know what I was thinking, and I think I mentioned this to you, is that I am really surprised that the government didn't file charges about drugs and drug distributing, because they had that was one that wasn't in there. And they talked about all the drugs, they showed all the drugs, but nobody ever talked about him doing illicit drugs and giving drugs to other people.
They literally had, like, I don't know, I'll put it up on screen if I can find it, but they had PCP, ecstasy, whatever you want to call it, like little capsules with Obama's face on it. It like founded the thing. I find it's funny to think about, and like that's ridiculous, but also kind of weirdly messed up. I don't know. There's something weird about that. Putting like a president's face on something like that.
Well, that's just drugs, but they all think it's funny. They think it's funny, but I personally think that there's going to be more federal charges coming at him. I think this is the beginning. I think they're going to keep going. But the defense attorney was saying that because his resting 10 minutes that he was saying that, they didn't call anybody. They basically said the federal government was going after him because he was a black, wealthy, established man. They used the race card.
Yeah, he was.
And
like,
I think
he was
they did it quite. They used it
successful.
quite black man, and they used the black man multiple times in that discussion.
I mean, it probably was good for the case, but I feel like socially it's such a mistake to bring race into this.
I know, because, really, truthfully, I feel like it is
stuff
too.
Like this is where we can all come together and be like, wow, that's a horrible person. Like, for example, Jeffrey Epstein or Harvey Weinstein, these people.
Yeah.
Like, you look aside from all that and you're like, wow, these people are heinous people.
Yeah, they're gross. They're disgusting, gross, evil people. And you know what? I mean, I think Diddy, some people are saying, oh, he'll come out on top of this, but I mean, I think most people will find him just gross. The only reason why they'll even talk to him is because he's got their record label or whatever. But he's just gross. I mean, come on, his dirty secrets have gone. He's gonna claim that he's a new guy, blah 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 blah. He's reformed, but guess what? He lied a million times before. I think he's a compulsive liar, and this verdict will feed into his narcissism of him being godlike. Do you know what I mean? And his family thinking they're untouchables.
Yeah, no, like straight up. Oh yeah, Kid Cudi. I just looked it up. Like, I think Kid Cudi described it correctly. She says Diddy was like a Marvel supervillain. Like, if you look at what his track record and what he's done, it's like, I mean, yeah, he has these like literally the stuff that Diddy has done wouldn't even be shown in fiction. Is how bad it is.
But I wonder, because it was a kind of a weird way that the federal government did all these crimes, their case. And I'm like, wow, they really skipped it with the voyeurism and videotaping people without their knowledge, the drugs.
That's
I mean,
illegal
clearly,
in many places.
yeah, and the drugs that he was feeding everybody. Dude, I mean, those are proven right there. They found drugs in his place. I mean, I just feel like they could have got him on so much. It's weird that they didn't try to charge him on that, and they tried to charge him on the RICO. Even though I do feel like he committed massive sex crimes. I really did. I can't believe he didn't get, I mean, convicted on it, but at least he got some. You know,
Yeah,
he
like,
got the two.
The two, but also we gotta be honest. The jurors, like, there was only one juror that disagreed. I wouldn't be surprised if he paid those jurors off, or he has someone in his pocket.
I know,
mean, he's so,
we can't say that for sure, but
you
you know,
can't
he
say-
was really confident that he was going to get off. He kept telling everybody, "Oh, I'm coming home. I'm coming home." It's like, okay, dude, seriously? So how weird, how confident he was, that made me suspicious too. It's a little sus. Although I'm sure his family's quite happy. Speaking of his family, you sent me that song that him and his
Yeah.
son
Oh my
and
God.
Kanye
Yeah,
did.
So this is
Ugh.
literally Kanye.
That was
so Kanye
awful.
West and Sean P Diddy Combs' kid, King, I think it is, made a song called "Diddy Free," and they actually, I think they did a full album about it actually.
No way. How
Kanye
can you do a full album?
Diddy. Let me see. Diddy Free, formerly known by, is a song by Kanye West and New York rapper, featured artist. Album Never Stop. It's part of the album Never Stop, but they worked on the entire album together, and it like what's it called?
I just think Kanye is a freaking mental basket case. And obviously, Kanye's with P. Diddy's son, King, who also, by the way, has multiple SA charges against him. Did you know that?
Yeah, he's honestly.
He's got a lot, too.
P. Diddy's son doesn't remind me of, what's it called? To me, P. Diddy's son isn't quite like on Diddy's level, but he reminds me of someone like Andrew Tate, who's like, they've got bad stuff, but like they aren't, like, for example, Andrew Tate isn't on the same level as Diddy, even close, but they, you know, they've still got these like serious things against them, and you're like, wow, jeez, man.
Yeah, because they're misogynist pigs. I mean, and you know, Keen is so young. I can't believe his kids are so young, and they're just taking after their dad, and that's sad. But they all have a lot of civil suits. Let me look up how many civil suits that. Last I looked, I think it was in the 90s that are credible. I think they're like credible ones are like in the 60s. Let me look at.
Yeah, like.
Well, let me spell his name right. Diddler. I want to say Diddy the Diddler.
Diddy
He's
the
so
Diddler.
disgusting.
Diddy the Diddler.
What dude wants to watch his women be with another man? It's
That is the
cucked.
Most, that is the most demeaning thing ever.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. He has 66 true that are legitimate lawsuits right now, and counting. There is some top lawyers that are taking some that accuse him and his son of assaulting a girl, and they're high-end lawyers, so they must have some proof. She's from Louisiana. That they said that they brought her on the pretense that she was going to be working for Keen and King Diddy, or I think that's his name, whatever, the one that was singing.
His nickname
And
is King.
yeah, and so of course he nicknamed his son King because see, they're all narcissist, misogynist pigs. They treat women horribly.
If you want to know what an actual
Horribly.
misogynist is like, by the way, like it's that is an actual
Yeah.
misogynist.
No, 100%. Anyway, and so she is, I think she was quite young too, like 18 or 19. She's not underage or anything. But
Thank God.
and she said that he basically forced her to do these acts and basically held her hostage to make her have these acts with Diddy also and other people, which doesn't surprise me with all of this. I mean, we'll see, but we'll see. I just hope, you know what I hope, and I know
What?
this is probably not going to be the most popular case, because I think this again is kind of like the OJ Simpson shit, you know, where it's ends up being a racial thing, which it shouldn't. But I do think that he's such a dirty human being and disgusting that I hope to God all those civil cases bankrupt him. Bankrupt him.
I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. It's kind of interesting if you look in the popular zeitgeist, like even kids on TikTok have like even like the most brain rotted stuff have associated Diddy's name with like a term for degeneracy, or like, this is Diddy she, you know, what I mean by that is even the youngest kids know about Diddy and associate his name with negative or creepy or weird or
I mean, he finds the most vulnerable women. And granted, they had the text messages with the girls that were like, "Oh, I love our freak off hotel nights, blah 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 blah." But he kind of had this hold on them financially too, both of them. Who knows how many else? And you know what was weird? Nobody even brought up the case about his assistant that she said he sexually assault or her. Um, I hope she civil lawsuits him too. I mean, it's just you're gonna have to edit that part again. So
yeah.
try to remember
I'm just gonna download like a censor SFX, and then I'm just gonna like you know,
Yeah,
put that
do
in
the
there.
yeah. You should just throw in the beepers in there. Doesn't your editing thing have a sound machine that you can throw in with that?
I've got no
Maybe not.
I've got no clue if it directly has a sound thing like that, but I know that I can just download like a sound effect.
You know what else this lawsuit acquittal makes me think about
What?
is how other predators will get away with hurting women and doing stuff like this and thinking that they can get away with it because a court of law, like these higher up people that are popular, like that's the main thing that most people feel like that he didn't get prosecuted because he was so popular.
Yeah, it's a class system thing, right?
It is disgusting, and that will just make it so that it's harder for when women have to do assault charges. That women won't do it. I mean, it's
Like,
disgusting and sad.
I've seen
It
people,
really is.
I've even seen people like Fox News or other places are like, this is a really big loss for like victims and stuff like this, because like they're like usually.
Well, Fox News will be against him anyway.
Well,
but you know what I mean? Like,
but like Fox News reported other like activists and stuff that were like, this is a really big loss for women and like victims, because they won't be able to show their like, you know, like at least before, you know, with some of these cases, like, okay, you know, you can go out there and win, but this is a case where they went out there and they lost.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like objectively, he's not gonna get, like, realistically, if Diddy is
okay,
lucky,
guess what?
he's gonna get 10 years. If he's lucky,
So,
he's getting 5.
The judge let him out
For just now?
pending just now. Sean Diddy Combs has been released from jail pending his sentencing hearing. Yep. He's going to be going to his house. He had a $1 million bond, and he's going to be confined to his home in Miami. He was just released. I was just speaking. Yep.
Yeah, wow.
He did give the judge requested legal briefs from both that got him all. So yeah, his legal team is arguing for the release, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, he was released just now.
Wow, so he's out. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I just said it. I just told you.
Yeah, no,
dude.
I'm just going over. I'm just thinking of it. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, he's actually out.
Yep. A $1 million bond, and he has to be in his home in Miami.
His mansion.
It's not a little home. It's freaking. Have you seen the images of the place in Miami?
No, I have.
It's like a small village. It's a small village.
I have, because what's it called? The famous streamer, Tyson accidentally bought his home next to Diddy's house, and he found out
that was in California, I thought.
No.
That was in California.
Hold on, let me check.
His Miami house is bigger, I think, than the one in California.
I wouldn't be.
I'm sure he wants to go to Miami too, because it's away from California. I think that I hope, you know what? I just really hope his reputation goes down. I hope everything. I hope to God his civil suits go. I just think he is gross. But you know what's going to happen? Let's just call it. He's probably not going to get more than like 2.5 years, maybe 5 total at the most.
I'm
And he's probably
seeing
gonna say, "I'm a reformed man. I had a sex problem. I hit low.
we were
God
bad,
is
but
my."
now we're good. He's gonna pull
Yeah,
one of that, like,
he's gonna pull it, and it's disgusting
and
because
also,
that means he had no repercussions for all of the people that he hurt,
and it
all of the
also,
women.
it's sort of like, in bringing up the Alex Jones case, the reason why they charged Alex Jones so much is because they wanted to make it basically an image out of him and ruin him to intimidate other people. And
Yeah,
it's the opposite with Diddy. I feel like when you don't charge him, you're encouraging those that, like,
I know.
the bad actors, and you're like egging them on, like, yeah, you can do this and you
I
can
know, it's
get away with it.
disgusting. I'm telling you, it just is gross. I don't. It's really embarrassing of our judicial system that these jurors, the one juror, because they all said it. I think that the head of the juror said that there was one person that did not believe it.
Yeah, like literally just
They acquitted because they all had to agree on
it
it.
had to be
It
unanimous.
wasn't a hung. Yeah. And they just wouldn't budge. So there you go. That's
yeah.
disgusting.
They're like, they got like $1 million sticking out of their pocket. Like, no, Diddy innocent. Diddy's innocent, guys. I swear. I'm not moving on
Yeah.
it. Diddy's innocent.
But we have to believe in our system, so they couldn't deny the prostitution ones. He should have just pleaded guilty to those. Truthfully, he should have just pleaded guilty, which is really surprising that he tried to deny that one, that they came over. See, this shows you the liar that he is.
It also became a reputation thing that I heard people are talking about that like he's just trying to preserve his reputation, so he just said no.
Yeah, but even at the end, after they showed all of this, the prostitutes, like what, 4 or 5 of them came up and talked, and he still tried to say, "Oh, they were just there. I was just paying them for them to just come and talk with me, and not." And they just decided to.
That's how they do with escort. He tried saying they're escorts when they're actually prostitutes.
Yeah. It's like, dude, they're both illegal if you're having intimacies.
Depending on the state, like I understand what he was.
And I'm
to
sorry,
argue
but
for.
48 hours of intimacy, yeah, that's disgusting.
Ugh.
I'm just
like,
makes me want to.
I was gonna say, with a lot of these things though, and I saw like a pretty big time radio host and DJ was like, honestly, from what I've seen, if Diddy doesn't get a lot of years, he's probably going to be able to make a full comeback into the music industry. And he explained, because listeners in the music industry are really forgiving. I'll give some examples.
Well, that industry, especially rap and all that stuff,
rap.
because they have that stupid gangster style anyway.
Oh,
and that's a
100%.
problem with their culture, I think, anyway, because then there's just like, you're okaying that this horrible behavior because it's a wealthy black man. No, horrible behavior.
I think that, to go over it a little bit, I think because, I mean, look at people, XXX Tentacion did some horrible stuff. And he's dead, but like, I'm pretty sure he like beat his girlfriend to like, and stabbed 9 people. Separate incidents, and people still love him and revere that guy. Another example, King Von. People describe that guy as the devil. Even his like other people in the community, which were also gangsters and like, criminals in their own rights, were like this guy right here is like the devil incarnate. And and people still liked him in the, like, music wise, fans still did. People are so willing to forgive and just be like, oh, that's fine, about these horrific crimes. And so
I mean, they did it with actors, like even that, what's his name, that Ezra guy,
Ezra Miller.
He kidnapped a young girl from off her Indian reservation, and they still hire him for movies for Flash. I mean, he's crazy, and he's been charged with assault, with SH. I mean, and he just keeps going. It's like, oh my gosh, apparently we don't think very highly of women anymore.
Yeah, he can't keep getting away with his. like, like seriously, man. Like these people, I can't believe it. I mean, I can though. We live in a society that somehow reveres. Is gotten to a point where we revere the worst of the worst, the people that take advantage of other people. It's a very dog-eat-dog world. And there's no honor. There's no honor, man.
No, and it's, you know what? That's a really sad place that we're at. And you know what? If P Diddy, instead of, he was high-fiving, doing his little heart, the dude really needs to say, yeah, I was bad. I'm horrible. I'm a horrible, disgusting human being, and I'm going to get help. Although I don't know if he really will, but I don't know. I just think that I'm sad that the verdict was the where it was. At least he has to do some time, but I think that our world is messed up.
Yeah.
Like people get more jail time for saying the wrong thing than actually assaulting people.
You know what's crazy? I just saw a case today, like it just happened. A guy had a woman kidnapped in his house and literally like paralyzed her and kept her in a little tin, like those like the plastic boxes. And
the bins.
Yeah,
the bins. Yeah.
And he got, guess how many years he got? That guy literally kept her kidnapped.
One guy, he was in Georgia or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, 20 years. Only 20 years for that.
And didn't he assault her too?
I'm unsure about that.
Yeah, because I think they found her without any clothes on in the bin.
It was a 16-year-old woman.
Yeah, she was a prostitute that he picked up but wouldn't let her leave and kept assaulting her. Yeah, I did read that.
And you got stuff like that, and then meanwhile you have cases where it's like, like a guy can defend himself from a shooter, and in certain states, and they get like 40 years in prison, murder, like it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it is really, really sad. The one thing good about him being on federal charges is that he doesn't get parole. He has to spend some time in jail, in prison, not jail.
Yeah, because
but who knows how long.
For anyone that doesn't know, is that you're like, for people not as aware of the legal system, you're like, oh, but you can get out on good behavior or parole or out early. That's for non-federal crimes. Federal crimes, even if they're only money-based, after November 1st, 1987 was removed. You cannot get out on good behavior or anything like that anymore.
Nope, nothing.
And you would have to, if before that though, you could. Like if you were arrested, or like even if you're sentenced to 40 years before 1987, you could get out pre your time. But after that, which if you look at the clock right now, it's after 1987. You cannot get parole or out early.
You mean the calendar?
Yeah, the calendar.
The clock. You mean the calendar?
Yeah, same difference. But you can't get out, no matter what. Right.
Yeah, well, and you know what? The judge may just throw us a wild card and say, I think I'll give him 5 years congruently.
Yeah,
Isn't that the word I want to say? Congruently is where it's one after another.
Yeah, I could see that. If
that would be, I doubt that. I don't know if the judge will, but
here's the 3 situations I can think of. Okay, situation like the really lucky for him, probable, and then unlucky. Unlucky is the judge really hates him and gives a maximum for both of them. Right, that's the really unlucky. Probable is he probably gets 2 years for each one or something, and then it spends 4 years in prison or some shit like that. And then just looking at his status and history and stuff like that. Really lucky for him is they're well, actually, instead of putting you in prison, because technically the minimum is 0 years, we're gonna make you do a bunch of different programs to make you better or whatever. That's his lucky. That's the lucky for him, is he gets an alternate punishment.
You know what I think they should do if they did that? Make him do drug tests.
Yeah.
Because I think clearly he's a drug addict also.
Straight up, if you wanna ruin him, ruin his ego. Make it so he can never be in the public. He can never be a public figure again, or you know how in certain things where it's you can never, like for example, guys at SWAT, you know, they're like, you can never use social media or like a phone without like
Oh
permission.
yeah,
They like
yeah.
you can never own one of these
Well,
record labels.
it's
Or,
too bad they didn't do the assault ones or trafficking, because then he would have to be a register as a S offender.
yeah, yeah. Bro's not even on the registry. I didn't even think
No.
about that. Also, by
Yeah.
the way, legally, I thought about this earlier. Is legally if you were a news agency, you could not say that he is an offender in any way.
No, he's acquitted.
Legally, you could not say that
Yeah.
without it being considered slander, because he is not
Yep.
actually he's not an S offender. He's not an offender of any of that stuff. He is not a trafficker.
He's just
saying that
he's
would be
just
libel.
the Diddler, Diddy the Diddler.
Yeah,
He's cucked.
he's John Diddler. Like that's all that he is at this point.
Yeah, he's a diddler. He's cucked and he's disgusting. But hey, yeah, it's just sad. It's a sad day. I feel like I'm sure that there's people. It's happy for him and his fam. Obviously, he's happy for him and his family and the people who support him. But I find it's a very sad day for women.
It really is a sad day.
and
for women.
It really, I feel like it really is. And this is so funny. Diddy celebrates acquittal with massive freak off. That was a joke.
Yeah. Guys, we're going back for round 2, baby. Round 2.
You know, and that's just the thing. I wouldn't doubt him. I
P.
wouldn't
Diddy
doubt
part
it.
2, the diddling.
Yeah, he's a diddler. I mean, you don't change that S behavior because he's been doing this for now 2 decades. I mean, when he was with Cassie was like 2009 or something like that.
Yeah, like really.
And they from the very beginning. So I wonder if he was doing it with other people like J Lo and stuff. It's so funny that J Lo bawled and cried all about Trump and how horrible he was going to be, but she never cried and told us how horrible Diddy was, did she?
It reminds me of what's his name. It's one of these big like actor guys or like producers that was like, I knew Harvey Weinstein was horrible all
Oh yeah,
along.
you told me that before. Yeah.
So I forgot who it was. So he's like, I didn't wash my hands when I went to use the restroom.
I think it was like Ben Affleck or something
Yeah.
stupid like that, but who knows? And you've said that before. Yeah, it's just so self-righteous. All of the, you know what it's come down to. I've decided.
Ron Coleman says he peed on his hand before handshaking Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, he peed on his hand.
Whatever.
It's like,
it's so juvenile too.
It's stuff like that.
That's
so,
juvenile.
And a story like that, people are like, wait. So you knew and didn't say anything? Like
Yeah.
that's all that it becomes is like a. Wait, so you're just like well aware of it and you decided not to because you suck?
You know what else this makes me think too is that there really is a difference between the 1% and the 99%. I mean, Holly weird and music weird. They're fucking weird. Like, look at the Tyler Perry incident. Like, nobody is blinking an eye about this. And apparently, he's had other accusations in his past. I think it really those that higher up in that industry really like. There's something fundamentally deviantly wrong with these people.
Oh no!
I'm just saying.
No, 100%. They're devious. There's something about it. Once you become a big shot, like, you know.
I thought you. I
know,
thought
man.
you would like this and think this was funny. That the first thing that P Diddy said was, "I love you, Mom,"
I mean, hey,
because you think he's got weird things with his mother.
I mean, it's proven that he's got. I mean, yeah, he probably loves his mom, just not in the way that a normal person
Like,
should love their mom.
not the way you love me.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he loves his mom like, what's his name?
In a freak off way.
a Freudian way, you know.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
As far as I'm aware, you guys can look it up, and I checked. He did have weird things with his mom, like making out, like his mom would make out with him when he was young, which is disgusting.
That is just the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. I can't even.
I'm not even gonna lie.
I can't. My brain. I just when you talk to me like that and you say things like that, I just want to go la 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 la. I don't want to hear. It's just. It is so. Being a parent. It's the most disgusting thing I could ever think of. It's like the Vacation movie with when we were kids with oh why can't I remember his name? I can see his face in my head. It's really popular, the Vacation movie with Chevy Chase, and his cousin or something, and the cousin's kids are like, I make out with daddy. You know, you're like, oh,
You're like,
gross.
freak.
All right, I think we're done.
Yeah,
We're just babbling now about
I
how
think,
disgusting we are.
yeah, no,
We're
but
disgusted.
yeah, disgusted of this. I think that, like, man, Diddy, like, usually just overall, I think stuff like that's usually generational, and I'm afraid for his kids too. And
I know. Well, like those boys don't look like they. There's two of them that have got the allegations against them. So we'll see. But I think you're absolutely correct. I think
I think there's something going on there. But apparently, I mean, at least King, he's probably associated with all that. And I'm genuinely curious how Kanye associates it with it too. Because I mean, I generally like Kanye's music, at least his older stuff.
I don't like any of his stuff.
I mean, hey, you like?
I think he's a. Yeah. There's some. Early stuff.
Yeah.
But I just think he's a mentally unstable person.
yeah.
Again,
Straight
mentally
up.
unstable people flock to mentally unstable people. You know, they're all pushers of each other. Kanye does drugs too, right? So I mean, come
nitrous,
on, they're
yeah,
all like
laughing gas.
Yeah.
That's what Kanye would do.
yeah, that's disgusting too. That like ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, all these people, it's messed up. Like, I think that, like, being rich, you know, there's a really bad being rich in Hollywood. I feel like there's something evil about it. There's,
I
like,
think you're I
when
think
you're
it
in
is. I think
media,
you're gross.
there's usually the two realms of it. Is if you're rich in, like, something like finance or something else, usually it's like you're evil or deranged in, like, a greedy way, right? But if you're in Hollywood, you're evil and deranged in a I touch people without their consent sort of way.
Yeah, and yeah, let's just say sex deviant.
Yeah.
We can say that. It's they're pretty gross. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised, but I'm definitely
I'm shocked, but not surprised.
I'm not surprised with the Rico one, but the other ones I feel like that they proved it, but whatever. I'm not shocked, but I am surprised. Yep, that's the perfect example.
Shocked but not surprised. But yeah,
Yep.
that's about it. We'll see you guys later.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.